Your Holiness Karmapa, the Lama Teunsang life and the history of Montchardon are inseparable. And would you kindly give us your personal appreciation of Lama Teunsang as a spiritual master?
I think that the activity here in Karma Migyur Ling started at a time of great change, I think, around the world on many levels, particularly at a time when the activity of Buddhism was spreading to different continents, I suppose, of the world. And so it means on one hand that, at least from what I understand, is that on one hand karma from the various different culture was sort of ripening, and so therefore becomes more favorable for them to have access to Buddha Dharma. On the other hand, the circumstances were ripe, particularly, let's say, here in the West. Although they were ripe, at the same time, it's still very new. The arrival of Buddhism is still quite foreign in a way. And so therefore, there was a lot of challenge, I think, to really, for the people to really understand what this new and foreign arrival is all about. And so therefore, I think the way Lama Teunsang translates the Buddhism into the hearts of the people is something very unique, because it's very tangible. He makes it accessible in a way that you don't need language in a way. As far as I know, he doesn't speak English or French, yet he can communicate everything to the residents, to the students, to the practitioners, be it to the neighbors, be it to all the surroundings. First of all, of course, he understands the value of Buddha Dharma, and he grew from there. He grew with Buddhism, and at the same time, he came to a foreign place where he had to now make do with what he has, to make the Buddha Dharma accessible, available for others. And so he did it by sort of sheer, I think, simplicity, I think, by giving his time, giving his energy, reserving hardly anything for himself, and making sure that that Buddhism becomes sort of relatable for people. And so therefore, the only relatable sort of medium that we could have is the classical things such as trust, honesty, and directness in a way. And so therefore, year after year, this sort of unchanging quality of his, I think, which is of course very, very unique, because the name is Karma Migyur Ling, yes, which means sort of unchanging. So it's very stable. I think it's that stableness, that unchanging quality that makes it very accessible for people. That's something nowadays, not that it's becoming, it's going away, but it's very precious, you know. It's very rare nowadays, I think. Not because we don't value them, but because our modern mentality is sort of, its priority is set somewhere else. It's always thinking about tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. And when the tomorrow actually comes, then we really don't know what to do with it, because we are thinking too much about tomorrow. And so therefore, I think quality like his becomes more and more rare nowadays. Because in a way, he's one of those few who's living in the moment, I think. Yeah. Of course, one plans for the future, One has to have some certain ideas, but he doesn't overburden himself with it. It makes things easier for himself, easier for others, and becomes tangible. Yeah. That's one way I can sort of express my appreciation. Yeah.
And the second question, would you kindly transmit a personal message to current and future practitioners of Montchardon?
I think, ironically, change is inevitable, of course. At some point, I don't mean to say all good things must come to an end, but things do change. That's sort of a part of life. But I think while we are here, while we have this opportunity, I think we have to be as greedy as possible in a way. In this case, greedy to absorb, to apply, to practice what this environment has taught, this spiritual environment has taught. And that whatever condition you are in, you can always bring a home, a sense of home. Right? What Namal has done is that he brought that sense of home. Of course, actually, there's nothing to relate to in a way, actually. Completely different language, completely different culture, completely from every angle, clothing, diet, down to the last detail. Of course, everything is very foreign. But nevertheless, you can bring a sense of warmth, a kind of home, and that's what he brought. Of course, as I said, this will dissolve at some point, which is the nature of things. But to realize that it's possible, it's possible to bring that home anywhere. If you persevere out of kindness, that is possible. Yeah. I mean, he practically has dedicated almost all of his life, yes, to be honest, to strangers in a way. By now, it has become a family, yes. So I think that's something to keep in mind. That's what he did. So to think of his legacy, to think of his achievement, might bring inspiration to the hearts of present and future residents, I think.
Thank you so much, Your Highness.
So?
Lễ công